Welcome to SATV Live Show, India-Pakistan Tensions. And ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a breaking news. Reuters just broke a news a couple of seconds ago. Hours after the ceasefire announcement, both nations accused each other of violating the agreement of the Kashmir region. Explosions were reported in Srinagar and airstrikes, air defense systems were activated in response to potential drone attacks. India claimed Pakistan initiated the violations, while Pakistan asserted that India was at fault side. The disagreement centers of the interpretation of the ceasefire's applicability of the line of control, LOC, and internationally recognized borders, while on May 10th, United States President Donald Trump took an initiative to both Shahbaz Sharif, Prime Minister of Pakistan, and Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi for a full and immediate ceasefire between India and Pakistan, mediated by the United States Department. This agreement aimed to halt ongoing hostilities and de-escalate tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighboring countries. Welcome to India-Pakistan Tensions live talk show transmitted from SATV studio. Let me welcome and introduce my very respectable guest. We have Major General retired Dr. Naeem Ashfaq, who has a very deep study on regional security complex theory. He has a publication on this particular. He will be our guest today, and we have our regular commentator Shamsul Alam Panto, who is observing the war from day one. He will have a lot of updates today as well. Let me do the first question to our honorable speaker, Dr. Naeem Ashfaq. I think you are observing the war situation in Jammu Kashmir border area, which already has reached into Islamabad, Rawalpindi, Lahore, Karachi, Balochistan, including Jammu Kashmir, as well as retaliation has started from Pakistan as well. My first question would be, how do you see the current state of tensions between India and Pakistan? We have to remember both are nuclear nations. Are we witnessing a period of very high risk, or it is just another chapter of the long standing rivalry after the division of India?
Right. Thank you so much for having me here today, inviting me for a very, very important and relevant topic, for which not only India and Pakistan, but also the region and the world is concerned about the incidents that those are taking place in those two countries. To answer to this question, I would like to cover up from the historical perspective. India and Pakistan, actually, they never enjoyed a peaceful relationship between these two countries right after from their inception or independence in 1947. So they engaged in three major wars, and also there were many conflicts, border skirmishes, and ultimately they had to be nuclear armed.
Right, sir.
Because of the rivalry. And for this, they also had to have engaged in arms race, arms proliferation, and also they have sucked into this region the global and the other regional powers. Other regional and global powers had to be involved directly or indirectly into the affairs of these two nations. What has happened with this development is that both the countries had to divert their budgets from the development budget to
the military weapons.
Exactly, to the defense budget. So who has suffered for this is the general mass. And I'm sure the general mass of these two countries doesn't want that you should engage with another country into the war for which we, the general mass, should suffer. So we say in some of the proverb, those who go to the war, they don't want war. Those who want war, they don't go to the war.
Very, very nicely explained. I want to go to our commentator Shamsul Alam Panto, who was very keenly watching and observing the situation every hour. Before I ask him a question, I want to compliment with you. War begins when dialogue fails. War begins by two arrogant people, but suffers innocent children, women and civilians.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the soldiers who go to the frontline battlefield to fight to win. My question would be to Mr. Shamsul Alam Panto, what are the main factors fueling this ongoing tension between India and Pakistan today? Could you please identify a few key moments or events that have escalated the situation recently, where all the world leaders are trying to convey a message, please go for a ceasefire, please go for a dialogue, sit in the table?
Thank you, Mr. Kanchan, for your lovely question. Warm regards to Major Naim for being here today. India and Pakistan have shared hostilities over the last 8 decades, if I'm not wrong. And I would, in the last show, we were talking about de-escalation and how US was placed in a very suitable position to initiate a diplomatic dialogue. As you asked me, main factors why they continuously engage in hostilities. The Indus Water Treaty. It's a treaty that says that both countries are announced that both will use the Indus water for their agricultural needs. Based on this, the border realization at the LOC, they can initiate or choose to have cross-border trade between the two sides of Kashmir for the benefit of the Kashmiri people. However, such a decision has not been arrived at, even after 8 decades. Not only that, according to the media reports, I know that tomorrow, on May 12th, both nations are requested by the House, the White House, to meet at a neutral location to discuss further issues. As I just mentioned, the Indus Water Treaty. During the fight, such a comment was made that the Indus water should be blocked off for Pakistan, which is a direct retaliatory comment made by the Indian side, which provoked this 3 to 4 day exchange of fire, in my opinion.
As you are mentioning the water sharing agreement or treaty between two countries of Pakistan and India, we should not forget that we have the water treaty or water sharing treaty with India as well. India has, it is the same agreement with the China as well.
Right.
So if it is the water is the reason to start a war, then do you think this is the diplomatic world of 2025 year, right this moment, 21st century politics, or it is just an old rivalry? Dr. Naim Ashfaq.
Right. So I would like to complete my answers that I started historically. So as you see, historically, they don't believe each other, and escalation to the full-scale war starts with the proxy war, and gradually it lands up into the all-out war. In this situation that started with the incident at Pahalgam on 22nd of April. And right after that, the India has blamed Pakistan that they had ignited or they are connected with this incident. Now, before you tell or publish all evidences or of involvement of Pakistan into this incident, you have initiated a war or conflict, violated the airspace of Pakistan, and then you have made a target of, as per their claim, that those were the shelters of the terrorist. Now, without surfacing this to the intentional war, you have initiated a war. Surfacing all the evidences, you have initiated the war. And then you have taken some of the actions against Pakistan, and in retaliation, Pakistan also took some of the initiative. Now, after this, the situation that we can see now, that you can't say whether this will lead to a all-out war or it will remain within this limited, the proxy war or not. We should be hopeful that it should not de-escalate and it should reach to the all-out war. I would like to thank US authorities, especially the President Trump, for taking this initiative, and I should also expect other international community, including United Nations, to compel these two countries not to engage themselves and escalate the situation, and they'll end up into the full-scale war. So not only this water sharing, but also there are other issues,
other factors,
for which the situation has come.
General Ashfaq, I was listening very carefully. I was listening you very attentively. You are a general. You are a soldier. Right. You are a fighter. Now you are studying on conflict issues, and you have a keen observation on that particular issue, India-Pakistan border regarding Jammu and Kashmir. I have a very blank questions for you. Do you think this war was necessary?
I would say no. In single word, I would say no. Under no circumstances the war should have been initiated. If I cite the example of Bangladesh, we passed a period where there were some of the instances of terrorism in 2015, 2016 and so on, and we took adequate measures to quell those terrorist activities, and Alhamdulillah, in Bangladesh there is hardly any chance. I don't say that we could eradicate.
I understand.
We have taken enough of steps.
I need to get one social and economic impact from our commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, who himself is engaged in business entrepreneurship. Mr. Shamsul Alam Pantho, would you mind to tell us how do the people of both sides, they are facing economic crisis as well because of this short war? It may be a longer war, and BBC commentator says this will be another dirty war world is going to witness. Would you please define that for the saving of current economic situation, current economic collapse in worldwide, this war could be avoided, or leaders could push the skip button?
Thank you. Actually, there is no direct winner on either side from a war. A war only affects the country's resources, the country's economical budget. April, May, 2 months in the summertime could very easily be boosted for tourism in both the countries, given that a certain skirmish has taken part in the last 3 weeks. It has a direct effect in all the households that there are in Pakistan and India. Foreign direct investment, FDI, would be constricted, and investors wouldn't feel the security they would feel where there wasn't any war. But however, the only winner from a war would be the industrial complex, the military industrial complex that tests and trials out its equipment. Now we weren't sure how far it was, but now we can see and ascertain that Pakistan and India have numerous number of drone technology, a technology that was not present 30-40 years ago when they had a previous skirmish. However, now we are seeing that there has been civilian casualties well above 100 people in both the nations combined, and it's a diplomatic failure for both the countries actually when it comes to choosing war over dialogue. I'm a firm believer that dialogue should be chosen over numerous times continuously in order to avoid such a war.
So it was a nice explanation on this economic and social engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go for a break, but after the break we will be talking with one senior journalist who will be joining from New Delhi, India, with the latest updates he has. He is one of the very reputed journalists over there, and before going to break, I would like to give you another breaking news which has just arrived in the newsroom. India conducted a nationwide civil defense drill across 244 districts, simulating air raids, blackouts and evacuations. Probably India is trying and preparing itself for a bigger war. We will be in a break, we will be back soon.
কোথায়?
SA group of companies.
ও আচ্ছা, এখানেই। সরি,
Right,
I didn't know
right.
that.
No, it's completely okay. আমি পড়ালেখা করেছি বিদেশে, সিঙ্গাপুর আর মালয়েশিয়াতে। তো করোনার সময় চলে আসি, আর এরপর থেকে আর কি আবার
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to India-Pakistan Tensions, a special show transmitted from SA Television studio, and we have a very good panelist today, Major General retired Naeem Ashfaq, Dr. Naeem Ashfaq. He has studies on regional conflict issues, and we have our regular commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho. First, I'll go to the question to Dr. Naeem Ashfaq. You know, both the countries have a complex relationship, historical relationship, I would rather say. How much of the cultural tension can be traced back to events like the patriotism or the Kashmir conflict? Before you answer, I would like to add, both the countries have different religion, different geographical position, different culture, different political moves and political culture. Everything is different. Only there is one conflict area is Kashmir. India occupied Kashmir and Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Don't you think this problem will be solved one day?
We should hope that this problem of Kashmir should be resolved for the betterment of not only for the citizens.
Sir, I would like to just stop you here because we have got a connection with New Delhi. One of the very senior journalists from New Delhi, Mohammed Ahmed Kazmi, he has joined us in over phone. Just let us listen his updates from Mohammed Ahmed Kazmi. Thank you very much for joining with SATV Live Studio. I am Rashid Kanchan asking just you, would you please tell us and let us know the latest updates regarding India-Pakistan tensions in the war field, India-Pakistan dialogues or diplomacy's progress. Would you please let us know your views?
Thank you very much for taking me on your show. Today, Prime Minister held a high-level meeting this morning, Sunday morning, with the senior ministers, including Defence Minister and External Affairs Minister, and also 3 service chiefs to take stock of the situation. Overall, things seems to be more calm, more peaceful, and I understand people from both sides of the frontier, they were expecting some kind of a lull or say ceasefire. So the ceasefire is announced, but yesterday evening there were some violations from Pakistani side, and India is still talking as if that we will take any action as a terror act, and we will not sit idly. But overall situation is more and more peaceful, calm, and people have started their normal life. Today, 8:30 morning, police officials in Amritsar, which is very close to the border, close to say Lahore, Atari Wagah border, people started their normal life. So seems now things are going better.
So, Mohammad Ahmed Kazmi, I'll have a compliment question to you, that do you find potentials on this diplomatic move from Islamabad and New Delhi, along with the State Department of United States of America, who initiated this dialogue under the leadership of US President Donald Trump?
Is that all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Is it over?
Yeah, no. I just ask you, are you hopeful on this diplomatic move by Islamabad and New Delhi under the leadership of Pakistani Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the United States President Donald Trump? Did you hear my question, Mohammad Ahmed Kazmi? Probably we have lost the connection with New Delhi. Now let us come back to General Ashfaq. You were telling about the complex historical relationship and reason of the war and conflict in this peaceful South Asian region.
Right. We should be hopeful. Not only the people of Kashmir, of both the sides, but also the people of these 2 countries and the region, everyone should be hopeful to resolve all the bilateral or multilateral conflicts or issues, issues that makes the relationship between the countries strained. Now, if we want to set our goal and objective and goal should be prosperity, economic emancipation, development of this region. The more you engage yourself into the conflict, into contradictions, into see each other as enemy, the more you divert your money from the development or economic emancipation towards the defense budget. So I would like to see that our leadership of this whole region, all the countries, they should set their objective. What do they want? Whether they want that the people of this region should remain in peace, whether they want that people of this region should develop, like say for example mutual support. With the mutual support, the EU has gone far ahead. There were strong countries in economic side or military side, developed countries in European Union. Again, there were weak countries, underdeveloped countries in the European Union. But with mutual support, everybody has prospered. Do we take those examples of EU and put it back into this region and tell our leaders, of this region that we want economic emancipation, we want development, we don't want conflict, skirmishes or war.
Sir, nobody wants conflict, nobody desires war, nobody desires disaster, right, sir? Would you mind to explain, India is the 7th largest according to the land size of areas country. We have the 4,400 miles of borders with them. Let us forget about Bangladesh. Bangladesh was the last good friend of India. Let us talk about India has lost friendship with Sri Lanka, with Nepal, with Bhutan, with Maldives, fighting with Pakistan. They have conflict with China. So Bangladesh, the public sentiment of Bangladesh is against India right this moment because of some activities they have done with the Bangladeshi people. They have manipulated our elections. Would you mind to say a few words about this? Why a bigger country like India, the world's largest democracy they claim, and they are fighting with all their neighbors?
Absolutely. I will go with your prelude. You see, you said that India is the largest country of this region. They aspire or dream to be the regional power and the global power. They aspire and dream to be the one of the permanent member in
United Nations General Assembly.
Now, if you want to be a regional power or global power, your attitude, your actions, your activities with all other countries has to be like that. Now, people may question about the foreign policy that they have adopted, through which they made all their neighbors enemy. We always say that Bangladesh is surrounded by India.
Right, sir.
But India also should think they are also surrounded by all enemies. Why it is so? So India should think twice that if they want to achieve their objective of becoming a regional power, they must take necessary steps so that at home, that means I am calling the region as a home, at home they are at ease.
Sir, if I ask the same question to another generation, you belong one generation,
Right.
you served the nation, thank you very much for your service in military.
Thank you.
I have the same question to you, sir. Shamsul Alam Pantho, India is 7th largest according to the area, land size country, but they have lost all their neighboring friends. They are fighting with Pakistan, they have conflict with China. They lost their friend as Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Bangladesh as well. So a country like India, should they behave like a dictator or like a leader?
Thank you for your question. It holds a very big significance in our country as well. As Major Naim or Dr. Naim has mentioned, that India should reconsider its foreign policy. I am also a firm believer of this dialect. Not only that, India is a large nation. It has different races, different languages, different cultures. Not only that, India should actually think about how they can understand their surroundings. Right now, currently in this year, most of the neighborhood countries there are with India, they are having a bittersweet and more on the bitter side with in terms of relationships. And I believe that India should restructure their foreign policy, such as they could think about how they can help out their neighbors economically, how they can contribute to the agreements that there are,
Right.
such as the SARC, how can they develop the SARC, also BIMSTEC, as we know, Professor Mohammed Yunus has initiated this in Thailand
Right, sir.
earlier this year. And they should be constantly focusing on the benefit of the regional countries before discussing or holding bilateral talks with nations like US. A neighborhood first policy should be the way to proceed. However, I'll give you a case study. The 7 sisterly states that border with Bangladesh, a couple of years back, from what I remember, the central government in India were having problems giving the citizens of the 7th state nationality. So that creates a nationality crisis in between their own people. This was fairly long ago, roughly 8, 9, 10 years ago. However, I think that has resolved somewhat. And if you check on YouTube and other social media platforms, they are always continuously sharing verbal slurs on how they would, they see a very nasty fetish on how they could expand the chicken's neck and how they always try to keep Bangladesh under control. And because of that intent, today Bengalis and regular citizens of all social circles have united together in the shared hatred of that notion. So this is why I would once again say that India must restructure and rethink on how it should deal with its neighbors.
Sir, as you mentioned that social medias or mainstream medias, you are also running a media.
Right.
Let me tell you very frankly that Indian medias are dominating, trying to dominate through their strong outlets of medias, all neighboring countries. They are defaming Nepal, they are defaming Bangladesh, they are defaming Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Nepal, Maldives. Every nations, neighboring nations, they are defaming by their state patronized medias, which is called Godi medias.
Right.
They are doing it. Do you think this media, Indian medias, are reshaping the South Asian relationship or diplomacy?
Thank you once again. There's a lot of disinformation going around the social circles, even during this war as well. Last 3 days, lots of fake news, courtesy of Godi media. As you know, Republic TV News, they take their liberty in order to say whatever they want at whatever cost, and it actually, at the end of the day, the reparations fall towards the Indian government. As you know, maybe 1 or 2 days ago, the YouTube viewing accesses in India of multiple private television channels in Bangladesh have been blocked.
They have stopped, yeah.
So why would you do such a thing with your neighbor such as that? Yes, we are not having a good time together, we're not having a more stable time right now, but such an action from the central government India promotes and welcomes more hostilities on our end. Since they have done such an action, the government right now in Bangladesh...
Don't you think India as a big neighbor should be more tolerance?
Of course, they should choose tolerance over provocation, I would like to say, and Bangladesh should actually use this as a way to block Indian channels as well in Bangladesh, so to tell them that we are also on the equal plateau.
So let us come back to the war conflict situation again. What is the steps you have seen from United Nations? We have seen that straight Donald Trump took the phone, made the phone call to Shahbaz Sharif, made the phone call to Narendra Modi, stop this war or go for ceasefire. What is the role of United Nations? As a soldier, you have served in different missions in the outside. What is the role of United Nations in such situation?
You see, on 22nd of April, the incident of Pahalgam took place, and right after that, we heard the statement of India. And those statements were a kind of provocation and initiation or giving a signal that there are likely to be conflict between India and Pakistan. That should have been the time when the international community should have jumped into the issues and stepped into the issues and asked these two countries not to engage themselves into the conflict, border skirmishes and other things. What is the definition of international community? It is two basically. It is state and non-state actors. Who all are the states? Those who all are global and regional power. They should have stepped into the issues and tell both the countries not to engage themselves into a conflict. The non-state actor is the UN. Now, we did not see much of the strong statements of UN. Just we saw that UN Secretary General said we cannot afford a war. That should not be the only word or only sentences that he should tell. I would criticize UN and tell that they should have called both the countries, the leadership of both the countries. They should have used other mechanisms to compel them not to escalate up to these issues. Same goes to other countries. Why only USA? Why not other international communities,
right,
other powerful countries? They are directly involving. Why they are not considering that these two countries are nuclear armed? If there is only one nuclear arsenal used, the whole humanity will be in a catastrophic situation. So the situation or they must understand that how significant is this.
Sir,
how
as
catastrophic is this.
experts and commentators, do you personally feel about the future of Indo-Pakistani relations? Do you hold hope for any significant improvement in near future, or do you see the tensions is persisting?
It depends on completely on the leadership. I am sanguine. Maximum of the general mass of these two countries doesn't want that they should be sufferer for the fallout effect of the war. So it is the leadership, and they should be warned that for their internal politics they should not bring war into their home and engage other countries to have a political gain. That must not happen. And there are school of thought that this incident at Pahalgam was orchestrated in a manner so that some of the political gains comes to the home of the BJP.
General Ashfaq, I'll have a very tricky and diplomatic questions for Shamsul Alam Panto. What do you think? What, which, and when could be the game changer for resolution or for the resolving this conflict in South Asian zone?
The leader of interim government in Bangladesh, Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus, he has commented that both Pakistan and Indian leadership should avoid this war. And I think Bangladesh now holds a more diplomatic stance than before. Professor Dr. Mohammad Yunus, I should say nothing more. He is very well acclaimed all over the world, and people generally tend to listen to our leader. This year marks a way back from globalization into more of an imperialist, state-focused, self-centered kind of approach. And I would say that this kind of tension in Southeast Asia or South Asia is generally considered not farewell for the households. The general population always tries to avoid war in all circumstances. So I would say that, as you mentioned, when, where and how, now that there has been a ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan, I think tomorrow they're scheduled to have a common dialogue between the two nations in a neutral location. If that is done well, I'm pretty sure that they can go back to their business as usual kind of phase. However, if things doesn't go well, even after American mediation into the matter, this may easily hint toward a World War III kind like a situation. As you know, we are 80 years from the last World War, and in my personal opinion, war should be avoided at all cost. There are many more markets that are affected than that are benefited during a war.
You said war is not accepted by anyone, but General Ashfaq, my very little question, but I want an elaborate answer from you, as you are a very seasoned general, served the nation. Is war a business?
For some businessmen, this is a business. You see, in the Pak war, there was fight of technology. One used Rafale, another used Chinese technology of electronic warfare, and also the jet. So there was a fight between the China and the West, someone says. So if there is a war, that brings in profit to some of the businessmen, some of the lobbyists, and some of the global powers. So I would say, in one sense, a very small segment of the society in the world, they are benefited from the war.
So
But
you call
in
what is a business for the war and equipments establishment
Absolutely.
groups?
General mass doesn't get any benefit out of it.
So thank you very much, Shamsul Alam Panto, for your contribution to our show, and thank you very much, Major General Retired Dr. Naeem Ashfaq, for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, before conclude the show, I have one announcement from Pakistan External Affairs Ministry. Just they broke the news. The recent escalations have resulted in nearly 100 deaths. Innocent 100 people have died, including 26 tourists, ladies and gentlemen, 26 tourists, and killed. India claimed that some 23 terrorists also have been killed. The violence has exaggerated in media, social media, and both the countries has been engaged in a battlefield, frontline fighting, which could cause thousands of lives. Nobody expects worse. Till now, this is the news and commentary from this show. I'll see you tomorrow with new guests and new updates. Goodbye.